I'm Robert Baseman, the Chief Product Officer of Proshort. I'm here today to show you how Proshort can help you rapidly get insights out of all your sales calls. Now, if you're like me, you've got hundreds and hundreds of calls across yourself, other members of the team, and there's a lot of gold in those things. We're going to show you how to get real powerful customer, market, competitive insights out of those things without a whole lot of setup. So I'm going to go ahead and dive right into the Ask Proshort AI capability. Well, I could ask it specific things about a particular deal or particular meeting, but we're going to go broad in this case. We want to look across, maybe let's say, I'll just take the defaults, the last few weeks of our calls as we start out the new year. So all up-to-date information. And let me hear about which objections are being raised by customers during these sales calls and how whoever's the rep on the call is handling those objections. Give it a second here. It'll come back pretty rapidly with some results. And you can ask a whole variety of things. We'll show a few more examples in a moment. So here over the last few weeks, we looked at 32 different calls. 23 of those specifically were related to the question at hand. Within these, it's gone ahead and automatically categorized all the different sort of themes that are coming up across these objections. So call recording compliance, and I can see how often that's coming up. 20%, 27% of the calls. It's the most common one. And then looking at sort of what people are saying in those conversations in general when that occurs. CRM system integration, pricing structure, you name it. Of course, these are our own calls, so of course it's going to talk about call recording and that sort of thing. Now, if these particular higher level insights are enough, super. But sometimes you want to get more of an immediate visceral sense of what's going on, or even use it in an example later. So down below here, I've got individual clips, we call them snippets, from all the various calls that were analyzed where this is sort of coming up. And I can even see on each of these, since we're talking about objections, did whoever the seller was on the conversation make a direct attempt to answer the question, or did they perhaps even promise a follow-up? If I'm interested in, say, pricing structure, and I wanted to get some feedback on that, looks like that with this particular question the customers had here, I can pull that one up and immediately jump to the part of the
To
clip
give a
Can you
retailer
give
a
us some
meeting
rough
book fee and
numbers?
and
Can
get
you
me
give
a full
some rough
sense
numbers
of
how the
what
numbers look
people
like?
are saying and why it matters.
so
I can take that and save it to a library where I can use it later. I can build training materials out of it. I can put it in board decks, whatever I need that material for as follow-up. So that's one example. Now you may at this point be saying, "Hey Rob, well that was nice. That was looked like a pre-canned query you just did. Is this sort of gamed out? Do you have all these stored in the back end?" Good news is no. So of course, powerful generative AI. I'm doing some pretty clever things behind the scenes to prep and be ready for whatever you might throw at it. So let's go ahead and freestyle a question. Also, let's go farther back in time for fun. Let me clear away the date filter. So we'll go across all of our calls. We'll see what that does for us. And let's ask something like, what do customers think about our note-taking capabilities? Let's go ahead and plug that in. Now, the system itself, obviously, you can't ask it anything. It's going to be based on what's going on in the calls themselves. Sorts of things you can ask about are, features, functionality, competition, interests, what people care about, what they don't care about. Those sorts of things all come through pretty well when you're doing these insights. And you saw earlier, you can also do things like filtering by time, by customer, by rep. And there'll be more ways of filtering in the not too distant future. So a lot you can do to slice and dice your information to get at exactly what you need. Okay, it's all done here. And it looks like we got back 312 different calls, with 77 of them particularly related to our inquiry. You can see here it's actually broken them down. In this case, since we asked about what they were thinking about it, it broke it down by sentiment. So I can see some things across all those calls way back in time that are positive sentiment about automated note-taking, appreciation of the AI features and what it's doing there, cutting away processes. Even some recent functionality we launched just a handful of weeks ago about customizing the note-taking agent, so it's picking all that up. Some neutral things as well. And it's also actually interesting in terms of feature limitations. In this case, highlighted two concerns: lack of write back notes to CRM and formatting inconsistency. Incidentally, I personally know this is because I did such a big time swath of these calls way back in time. These were capabilities we actually launched last fall, and so you can use this actually, in fact, by playing with the date filters, and actually we've had some customers that do this, to compare and contrast the impact a particular events on customer sentiment or rep behavior. As a similar note, we had a sales enablement leader who was able to look even at before and after customer trends and conversations after they did some competitive objection handling training. And they're able to see a difference on the before and after by using this capability and looking at different spans of time. You can have that sort of impact very rapidly with these sort of summarizations. And once again, if I need any examples, I have them all right here. So that's a quick little tour of one of the foundational parts of Proshort. A lot more we do on top of these core capabilities once you get into it, but hopefully it gives you a feel of how you can very quickly, without tagging, without grouping, immediately get the insights you need for your business, for your reps, for your team in general, from all that awesome gold that's buried in your call recordings today.